Finally, enough holding that in. Hello one, hello all, I am CP, otherwise known as Charles. Welcome to WILIscredia. Today we are covering Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills is a 2021 movie directed by David Gordon Green, starring Judy Greer.
So Karen is a Karen. Boy, God has a sense of humor.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Anthony Michael Hall. To get to the nitty-gritty of it right away, this is a movie that you'd really be beneficial to take in Halloween 2018 as closely as possible before watching Halloween Kills, because this is a movie that takes place directly after Halloween 2018, and the cohesion, the connectivity of it. It might as well be a Twilight YA movie that seems to split into two. And the Halloween movies have actually done it better and made it seem like they're actually just one movie split incredibly. I say that, of course, because right off the bat, you get the ending of Halloween 2018. You get the whereabouts of somebody who you weren't sure about. Then you get a flashback, the infamous flashback scene that everybody's kind of heard about on the internet. Much like the flashback in 2018, or the use of Donald Pleasance in 2018. It serves a purpose, but it's not something that I would certainly hang the hat of the film on. It's there for a reason. It's not just some fan service, although it doesn't hurt. That's for sure. Ironically enough, we're bringing the Strodes to the hospital. The second film in a new series is taking place at a hospital, not to be confused with the second film of a Halloween movie that takes place at a hospital. That is no longer canon. Some of the complaints about 2018 were what happened to Michael Myers after the end of 78. They fixed that in Halloween Kills. You find out some of the deficiencies in 2018 are either repaired, explained, or smoothed out. I guess that's the same thing as repaired. Extremely well in Halloween Kills, and it's seamless. Can't believe I'm about to say this, but they actually connect their two major films much better than the Star Wars recent trilogy did. So another complaint about the now non-existent Halloween 2 is that it mostly took place in a hospital. All right, so you're prepared for that. Just throw that in the back of your head. Because, Laurie Strode is now in a hospital in this movie. Deal with it and grow comfortable with it. However, Halloween Kills is, in scope, a much bigger deal than Halloween 2, and you've got a lot more to chew on. And we get to that right away with introduction to more previous characters from the only movie that technically exists previous to 2018. It's 78, 2018, and Kills now. That is the only movies that are important to you, and they're connecting the dots and making it as cohesive as possible. At a open mic night talent show bar club thing, we come across some grown-up characters that you may find familiar. Namely, one that's name is on the poster, Tommy Doyle, played by Anthony Michael Hall, who is at this talent night, open mic night, karaoke night? I don't even remember what it was, but he was there to do something special. News of the murders of 2018. Again, this is fresh off of 2018. So if you're watching in real time, it's basically an hour later from Halloween 2018. So news is now going out. They're in a bar, a club, or whatever, and news is getting in that there's been some murders. And I think that is what gets people fired up. If I have that not mistaken, apologies. My memory's trying its best to. I couldn't take notes, so I'm trying my best to put everything together as I remember. The fact that there's now been killings again helps get people fired up. And I think somebody screams, "Evil dies tonight." And that becomes a thing. Evil dies tonight. Get used to that phrase. There's this new movement to do something about that. Perhaps a parallel to the interesting powers and influences of people today. Perhaps. Keep in mind, this is a movie shot before January 6th, 2021. So I'm not exactly referencing that. And besides, if you think of Michael Myers as the U.S. Capitol, then no, just no. And then we're introduced to characters from 2018 that we didn't realize we knew, but you'll recognize them, especially if you watch 2018 with an eagle eye, and now they're a part of the story now. I really think that's quite endearing. It's very Marvel. It's very cinematic universe-y. Quite a neat thing to do. Makes you pay attention to every character now. Now it's not just everybody that dies. Some people are just fodder. Perhaps there's going to be a story behind one of these killings, and Halloween Kills certainly, at the very least, puts value behind everything when it comes to how people feel about Michael Myers, what Michael Myers is doing, and how the town is starting to feel about Michael Myers. It is essentially Haddonfield takes on Michael Myers at this point. We then have some unique stuff for a slasher film where there's some misdirection at the hospital, and fantastic work. Absolutely fantastic work for a bunch of reasons. Again, those of you who think Halloween 2 took place mostly at a hospital and not much happened, I think that's for you. This is a different movie. That's all I'll say about that. We got a shitstorm happening. There's different things happening at different places. There's a whole bunch of meanwhile back at the ranches going on. You got more than two. There's different things in different locations. Michael Myers go ahead and resumes his house to house, just killing for the sake of killing, some brutal killing. We're then reminded that it's still Halloween. Again, this is still just hours, minutes later after 2018. So people are still trick-or-treating. And trick-or-treaters show up at a house complaining of swallowing a razor blade. Turns out to be a prank. Interesting house to choose to do that at. Some good humor is had there, is what I'll say. Not I've got peanut butter on my penis. There's some... this movie has fun at times, but it doesn't seem so over the top. Although I don't know how some people would know 40 years later about exactly how Michael Myers stabbed his sister in the tits. And in this current climate of people getting bothered by abnormal social standards, they've set this up in Halloween 2018, but it's not blocking the story in any way, shape, or form. The story is moving so quickly. It's actually quite fascinating. It is the middle of a trilogy. It is the Empire Strikes Back of of the Halloween 2018 saga here, and it feels it. Again, the scope is ginormous. It's so many different things going on. You have different types of storytelling and story events for different types of people, and it moves at a pace quickly enough that if you're not a fan of the family relationship between the Strodes, all right, that happens for a bit. Well, now here's Michael Myers just killing some randoms. Okay, now here's Tommy Doyle's character and his ensuing mob getting more and more pissed, trying to make sure evil dies tonight. Again, it feels so good to say this about a movie in 2021, a mainstream horror movie in 2021. They don't hold back. There's that moment in Halloween 2018 where Michael Myers has that moment where you're like, he can't do that, can he? I mean, he's killed pets in previous movies that don't exist anymore. There's the next closest thing that happens, and it happens in Halloween Kills. Again, Halloween Kills, aptly titled. This is not, Halloween resting in a hospital. There's kills in this movie. Be prepared. All right, I won't give any more of the story away. We're crossing over into second act stuff here. To the basics of the film. How do I feel about the film? Once again, David Gordon Green taking over from 2018. Halloween 2018 was a very well-made movie. The cinematography was fantastic. Once again, very fantastic here in Halloween Kills. It's great to see horror movies with wide scope, not just in story, but picture and presentation. The story probably is a bit stronger, and that's perhaps a benefit of being able to listen to some of the complaints of 2018. I'm assuming they listened to some of the people complaining about some of the holes in 2018. They fill those things. They fill them, and boy, do they. Like I said, this is a movie that is such a companion piece to 2018. It might actually make you feel better about Halloween 2018 while getting you rather fired up for Halloween Ends. You guys know me. I'm rarely hyperbolic. This, so far this year, granted this year has been very interesting as far as cinema is concerned. This so far is my favorite mainstream theater experience. The film itself, especially for horror fans, feels like a dire reward for those of us who have waited not just this last year, but for 17, 18 months, it seems now, for things to be normal and entertained the way we should be at this point. Your long wait is awarded with this film. To other elements of the film, innovation, things done in the genre. When I say innovation, I don't mean cinematic innovation. It still is a horror movie after all. It still is a slash movie after all. So you bring the ceiling down a little bit on that, but it does some unique things that had me, somebody decades worth of horror movies, that I'm not very impressed by a lot of stuff, especially by mainstream stuff. I was impressed by quite a few things here. Again, there's an element that they really throw you for a loop, especially people who think they know what's going on and oh, this is just blank all over again. All right. How about this? Easily the goriest Halloween film to date, perhaps against all of the previous Halloween films combined. You really get the sense that this is Haddonfield versus Michael Myers, and that's a great thing because I feel like they're going, or at least they have this option to go in a Conjuring-esque, a Marvel Cinematic Universe-esque type direction where it's not just Laurie Strode, not just Laurie Strode, not just Laurie Strode. You can have people that, with what they've done so far, you could have it be, oh, you killed my so-and-so in 2018 and motherfucker, I've got problems with you. And Michael Myers is just a killing monster, a machine, so to speak, just killing at anything that comes near him. Anybody could have the same problem with Michael Myers that Laurie Strode can. Michael Myers has killed a lot of people, so you never know who can have a problem. And the more he kills, the more he transcends. Well, yeah, that certainly means a hell of a lot more than just a tagline for a trailer. More people are taking attention. That is the way I took it, and more people are pissed. The Laurie Strode syndrome is not just exclusive to one character, and that's a welcome experience. Wouldn't it be great to have the same emotion in a showdown between characters in a Halloween movie, that you feel like there's something there? And sure, the movie presents it as such, but the more you think about it, the more Michael Myers he's just a killer. He killed his sister, for Pete's sake. And as far as we know right now, Laurie Strode is just some chick who was babysitting on the day of Halloween, 1978. Which, I guess, if there is a minor complaint, it needs to be stressed. I am a Friday the 13th guy. So this to me feels like cotton candy covered in caramel, dipped in ice cream. This is such an experience that I was thoroughly impressed. However, if you enjoy the Halloween 1978 style of stalk and kill and hiding in bushes and oh, where is he? And a methodical pace. That's not present here. And that may be a lot for some people not to enjoy. Halloween has always been, of the major three, of the Freddy, Michael, Jason, Halloween has always been the heavier on the story, least focused on special effects and gore and things like that, at least in my mind. That is not the case here. Holy shit. We had a taste of it in 2018 with the Capo Lantern. So to 1978 fans who are looking for a step back to 1978, let me say you may not feel the same way I do. But as far as everybody else, if you enjoyed 2018, buckle up. There's so much more. If you enjoyed 2018 with caveats, buckle up. They might have fixed those caveats for you. They might have plugged some holes for you in kills. And most importantly, in my case, those of us in the Friday the 13th sphere, guess what? You've got your next best thing. James Jude Courtney is menacing, Jason-esque, if I do say so. And while Warner just fights and loses money, Friday the 13th fans, let me tell you, you have the next best thing, perhaps slightly better, in Halloween Kills. I would be shocked if there weren't a bunch of transplanted Jason fans to Halloween with this movie. I'm certainly geared up to hell for Halloween Ends. But again, I am a Friday the 13th guy. I'm not a Halloween fan. take that with the bag of salt that is deserved. What say you? What are you expecting from this movie? Have you seen this movie? How do you feel about this movie? I'm curious to know, especially if you're a big-time Halloween fan. What is your major genre? What's your favorite element of a horror film? What are you looking for? And did this movie pay that off for you? Because as of right now, I'm not being hyperbolic. This is currently my favorite film of 2021. I'm not kidding. So thank you to my patrons who always have made sure that the lights are on and the internet is flowing. If you'd like to hear more, I will do a spoiler talk, but it feels a little distasteful to talk spoilers. I really feel like I went a little too far here. But I'd like the rest of the world to have access to it, not just Italy, Venice. Before we get into spoiler talk, maybe talk to some other of my fellow Halloween YouTubers. If you enjoy this and you'd like to see the rest, including my spoiler talk when the movie releases, be sure to click subscribe. If you love Halloween, smash that like button. If you love Friday the 13th, smash that like button. If you just hate, smash that like button. Thank you so much once again. I have been CP, otherwise known as Charles. Have a day.